FG Turbo, mate.
Oh yeah? What do you want of this?
Just a tune.
Yep.
I'm thinking 270 at the wheels.
230, I'm thinking 260. 230 standard, 260 tuned. That's my prediction.
All right, let's see what happens.
This is the FG Falcon that I'm about to tune. It's a standard car, all we're doing is tuning it. The key differences between the FG XR6 and the BF is a more efficient turbocharger, a bigger intercooler, it's about the same size as a BF Typhoon, and the inlet manifold's different as well. It's got the throttle body's in the centre, facing down. Looks wise, I reckon it probably doesn't look quite as good in there, but it obviously makes a whole lot more power, so that's the main thing. Driving the car, the main thing that I noticed is the torque reduction on the shifts is quite severe. So just getting rid of that will make it quite a bit faster. All right, I'll get stuck into tuning it. Alright, I've just finished tuning the car. There's the hand controller that the customer gets when they pick up the car. Now what we've done with this car is purely and simply remapped the factory PCM, the factory computer in the car. No other modifications at all, no mechanical modifications. And it's picked up nearly 30 kilowatts at the wheels, and it's picked up about 40 kilowatts at 3000 RPM. Now I'll go through the process of how this works. All I do is that plugs into my laptop. And the changes I make on my laptop, when I'm finished, I flash the tune down to the hand controller, and then finally you go from the hand controller, it's just got a plug here that plugs into the OBD2 port under the dash. And you flash the tune from the hand controller to the car. We're just taking this on a test drive. We've just tuned it on the dyno as you saw before. The difference is quite substantial. It's a lot faster car than what it was. It was already a fast car, but it's very fast now. I've managed to get rid of the torque reduction, so on the gear changes it doesn't reduce torque. And before you could hear it cuts a spark and it sort of pops out the exhaust on a gear change, on a wide open throttle gear change. And we've got rid of that now, which makes it feel quite a bit faster through the gears. The changes we make on the dyno with a car like this is the same as any car really. The main things is the fuel and the spark advance, and being a boosted car like this, the boost, these have got an electronic boost control, which is controlled by the computer in the car. And we increase the boost obviously. These already run quite a bit of boost. From standard they run about 10 pounds of boost, which is quite high for a decent sized engine, this being a 4 litre inline 6. We pump it up to about 15 pounds of boost, which gives us quite a good power gain. Most of the power comes from increasing the boost, and then we just play with the spark advance and the fuel to suit. The next step on this would be injectors. The injectors are maxed out from about 5000 RPM onwards. So the next thing would be injectors, and following that would be the intercooler. Running the higher boost, it's creating a lot more hot air, and the intercooler is starting to struggle a little bit. So if you're only going to do one thing, the next thing would be injectors, and following that, intercooler. valve springs are starting to float a little bit. I had 15 pounds all the way through the run, even through the top end, and it had a little bit of valve float, so I had to bring the boost back in the top end back to about 12 pounds of boost. So by fitting valve springs, you'd be able to run 15 pounds all the way through the rev range and pick up quite a bit more top end power.
Alright, here we have a new FG FPV Super Pursuit ute. We're doing a few modifications to it. We're putting a Yella Terra blower on it and yeah, full exhaust system, as you can see here. Just had the opportunity, I thought I'd show you a couple of differences in the standard system to the upgraded DeFilippo system. As you can see, the factory headers, you know, they're quite small. Firstly, you know, because they try and get the cats as close as possible to the header for emissions. Look, they're better than the cast manifolds that are on, you know, just a standard XR8 and stuff, but look, they're still not the optimum header. So you can see it's got really short runners. It actually squashes right down to you know, join up to 1 3-inch, which steps down to a 2.5-inch pipe. Now, when you're supercharging a car, you want to get the air and fuel in as quickly as possible and the gases out as quickly as possible. What would happen here, this would become a restriction and you start building up pressure in the exhaust, which in effect is not helping your performance. So you can see on the DeFilippo headers, they've got very long runners, yeah, large diameter tubes, and it all goes into a 4-in-1 collector. Okay, the 4-in-1 collector on the inside is a lot smoother than the factory ones. Into 2 high flow cats. Now the catalytic converters that the factory use, obviously they're using a decent catalytic converter, but the problem is it's quite restrictive. These ones are high flow so that the gases are able to get in and out very quickly. So the other thing you'll notice is the diameter of the pipes. The factory has 2 2.5-inch pipes. The DeFilippo have 2 3-inch pipes. What they're trying to do is get the gases out and as far away from the engine as possible through 2 high flow mufflers. Okay, so here we've got, you know, a twin in. The factory, they drag both into 1 3-inch pipe. DeFilippo drags 2 3-inch into a single 3.5 over the diff. The mufflers themselves are straight through mufflers, so the muffler, as you see it here, will go into one on the inside. Okay, and it'll have all its perforations so that it actually does muffle. The factory mufflers are actually baffled, so you'll have baffles running through the centre of the muffler, and the exhaust gases are forced to go back and forth to try and muffle the sound. Basically, with the DeFilippo system, it's full stainless steel. You know, it does give a significant performance gain, but look, our main aim is to get those exhaust gases out so that when the blower goes on, you can see its maximum potential. We finished fitting the exhaust to this car. It was the DeFilippo twin 3-inch system, which I explained earlier. The blower kit's now arrived. I've laid it out on the bench just to give you a brief description of the kit and what's involved in it. Look, in front of me I have what's called a heat exchanger or radiator, if you want to call it. They've sent me 2. One is off the old XR8 kit and the other one is for a 300C. As you can see, one is larger than the other. What we basically sent both for is to see which one will fit under the bar of the FG ute. So we've got that. We've got the intercooler, which is actually going inside the blower kit, So I'll dismantle all that, get the intercooler in, make sure it's all sealed and finalised, and that will basically takes the place of the intake manifold. You take the intake manifold off, you drop that on, and away you go. It's nice and neat. Look, my preference would be twin turbo. I love my turbos. Did that to the BA turbo. Only problem is because the engine's got such a wide V, you don't actually have the space to fit turbos where would be ideal, which is beside the engine. So what we had to do was mount them up the front. Not a lot of people want to go to that extent. There are other kits that mount the turbos down the rear. I'm not a big fan. I don't like that much piping and weight. This is all nice and neat and sits under the bonnet like standard. You look at it afterwards and you go, where's the blower? So yeah, look, these are all the other accessories. Like I've mentioned in the past, it's like a big Lego kit that we work through. Rob's actually pointed out that there's instructions. Now they've stuffed me up with the instructions before. Now they've made it even harder. Now they think I know how to use a computer. So we'll give that a go anyway. All right, so I've got the manifold off, got the blower here, just about to put the intercooler in. Basically I've just undone all the top bolts. What I'll do, remove the top off. All right, so as you can see, you can actually, if you look in closer, you can see the rotors spinning there. Okay, now they're the two rotors in the blower. Basically, intercooler just sits in there like that. Okay, seals at the bottom. Most people will look at that and say, well, geez, that's a pretty small intercooler as far as intercoolers go. But as we've found, we've done a fair bit of testing, put larger intercoolers in and stuff like that. For the purpose of the kit, which is not a very big boost, it is more than adequate. Okay, so the air is compressed and pushed through the one position. There's no baffles or anything, so basically the intercooler could be twice that size, and unless it has baffles deflecting it through the intercooler, then it's useless. So I'll show you how it all sits in. Basically, just need a little bit of sealant in the bottom just to seal the intercooler. Okay, it doesn't have to have the sealant. We like to put it so the intercooler, once it's in there, doesn't move around, doesn't vibrate and migrate and break welds and that sort of thing. Okay, so O-rings on the front face, seal. I've got sealant on the threads that will now go in and hold the intercooler in. And basically it's that simple. Air gets pushed up through the intercooler core, out, it hits the top plate, deflects back and around and into the ports. So yeah, it's that simple. The other thing you can see here is what's called a bypass valve. Its equivalent is a blow-off valve in a turbo, some might want to say. Basically all that does is releases pressure when you get off boost, so it's exhausting any pressure in the manifold. And at idle it opens and allows the air to circulate around so that the air is not actually heating up in the intercooler. Alright, so I'm just about to fit the injectors and rail to the blower assembly. You saw before how I got the intercooler in the housing. That's all bolted down and tight now. Basically had to do a couple of modifications to the fuel rail to get it to fit in, because the mounting position of the fuel rail has changed. because it's mounting to this cast assembly now, rather than the factory manifold. It actually bolts up differently. You can see the tags here used to fold over and bolt from the top. Now we have other little locators that hold the rail down and hold the injectors in position. Now, you can see, the injectors look very much like the factory injector, which is that one there. So the body style is the same, length and all that is the same. The only difference is that they actually flow a hell of a lot more fuel. So these flow approximately 660 pounds per hour, whereas the factory ones are approximately anywhere between 25 and 30. I don't know exactly for sure, and the care factor is not really there, to be honest, because standard stuff doesn't really work for us. We like the modified performance stuff. Hey, Paulie. Yeah? Can you give us a hand, please? No, look, you get all the choice jobs, so can you please just give us a hand, because I'm doing all the hard stuff. Mate, they give you all the toys to play with, and you're still complaining. Bloody tuners, I tell you. Are you playing up the camera, George? No. Camera? Actually, turn the camera, show him what he's doing. All the good stuff.
Do you really want a hand?
I do, yes.
What would I be doing first?
Come on, mate.
I'll give you a hand if you weld this up to me.
All right, give me a hand first and then we'll talk.
I've heard that story before.
Got
any clean hands?
Oh.
I'll give him a wash, eh?
Yeah. All right, we've got PD Paulie, we call him, because he loves these things. Yeah, he loves tuning the good old PDs. When he started here, he was telling me how great the PDs are, and I think I converted him to turbos. So don't tell everyone, because he's still a little ashamed of that. Now, right, Paulie? Yeah. The hazards of being a mechanic. Everything's sharp. Just don't tell Ian, because I'll never hear the end of it. Now, right, Ian?
What's that?
Exactly.
Cheeky boy?
I was just saying how tough you are.
Oh yeah. Not tough enough on you, that's the problem.
See? Got a band-aid?
taking this Super Pursuit FG ute for a test drive. Just had on the dyno and it made 350 rear wheel kilowatts, which is extremely good power and a whole lot of torque. With a PD blower and a V8 like this, it's got the same amount of torque at 2,000 RPM as what it's got at 6,000 RPM. Very nice thing to drive, beautiful daily driver. lot of power down low. Straight off idle it makes boost. So you don't have to rev it up just in stop-start traffic. You know, you wouldn't really be revving it past 2,500 RPM. The fuel economy on one of these is very good. If you drive it normally, if you drive it sensibly, then you will get the same fuel economy as what you would if it was a standard car. It's only once you start to put your foot into it, which is pretty hard not to do, that you start to notice a difference in fuel economy. But the main difference between something like this and the FG XR6 Turbo we tuned the other day is the power delivery at low RPM. With a turbo car, you really have to. The FGs make peak boost at about 2,700 RPM, where this thing makes peak boost at nearly 1,700 RPM or something like that. So to drive it, it just feels like a different car to drive. The turbo car's good, but I would certainly prefer something like this for a daily driver. And obviously the noise, one of these things make a supercharged V8 is nothing better.